59 at Radio America. This is Uncle Sam, music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We simulcast it over at Gun Channels. We're watching the live comments that are coming in from everybody watching live. We'll take the audio occasionally and post it on iTunes as a podcast. So we encourage everybody listening to the show now and in the future to give us some feedback, letting us know what platform you're listening on and where you are. And people listen to the show, and that is one of our goals, so we do appreciate that favor. There's 4 hosts. All of us are here today. We got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, he's got his camera on. And we got Daniel jumping in from Illinois.
I object to that graphic I'm being forced to see.
It'll be nice to Bob's face.
There we go.
Then we got Smeggy jumping in from.
Hey, Smeggy's coming in from Michigan. Hi, how's everyone doing today?
Hey,
and then I'm down here in Arizona. All right. Well, so we are on episode. I can't read anything here. I don't know. We're on an episode of the show. And it's Tuesday, so we're going to be talking about Second Amendment, California today, and whether or not California is a lost cause. And we'll do our idea too. No, we don't know what we're doing today. I thought we had a topic earlier, and then we'll talk about California for the state of the state. Every day we talk about a new gun shop and the gun of the day and a movie and stuff like that. To get into the actual meat of the show, we usually take a break at the beginning here to see if anything might have happened overnight. That's worth talking about.
Not that I noticed.
There was something. It's gonna take me a minute to look it up, but
well, while he's looking it up, apparently Bob had time to go shopping for a flag, and he's mighty proud.
It's my new flag. It's embroidered.
And it's grown out of his head.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird look, isn't it? It's like I'm wearing a big maple leaf hat.
Oh, come on, where that goes right here. Is this it? Yep. Okay, so apparently a House bill was introduced, let's see, by a New York Republican. And basically, the bill is designed to repeal much of the controversial New York SAFE Act and other similar laws. It is named the Second Amendment Guarantee Act, filed by U.S. Representative Chris Collins. The bill would preempt state and local governments from enacting a regulation on rifles and shotguns that exceed federal law. Basically, it would get rid of like assault weapons bans on magazines, blah, blah, blah. Filed as H.R. 3576. So, I know it was just introduced. It's in the House Committee on Judiciary. You know how this stuff takes time or whatever, but it's something to watch for, something to keep an eye on. So, HR 3576. You can track it, follow it, and hopefully that passes. I mean, it seems like that would at least take down a lot of crazy stuff. They would still be able to regulate handguns and ammunition, but it's at least a step in the right direction if it goes through.
Baby steps, anyway.
Honestly, I think sometimes that's all you can take.
Why they didn't touch ammunition. It's like if you're going to go for all that much, you're like one step short of a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Why 6 is fine in one area, and 8 is good in another, and 10 is good in another.
They just might not wanted to take that extra step, hoping that, they'll get this one through, then that can be the next phase, Maybe that's all they thought they could get through.
only thing we know for sure is we have whatever we think we have only for a year and a half, for sure. And then we have the midterm, so we don't know what that's going to bring us.
Right. Well, I mean, we've talked about before. I'm in favor of the, you know, multi-pronged attack. So, you know, put something in there that gets rid of everything. Okay, great. Put another one in that gets rid of a couple things. Neat. Put something else in at the state level. Put something else in at the, you know, executive order at level. Blah blah blah. Something in the courts. Like, just fight everything, and a couple things stick, and there you
go. throw everything at the wall, and whatever sticks, well, at least you got something.
I mean, that's certainly how they take them all away from us. You know, you don't think they wouldn't love to just put a bill in that says guns are illegal? You know, turn them in. That's what they want. They don't do that, so then they do all of the above. You know, state level stuff, federal level stuff, regulatory stuff.
You don't think they would if they thought they could?
I know they would if they thought they could. And just like I would say all guns forever, good to go, if I could. But I don't see, you know, as much as I'd love to get rid of the NFA and all that stuff, I don't see it happening in one fell swoop. We're like, okay, well, everything's unregulated, knock stuff out. Now, that's how it should be. That's what the Constitution says. No, but
the NFA was done in one step. It was one bill that went up, the National Firearms Act. It wasn't like a whole series
of politics have changed
that happened over several years.
I just think you can't. It's a different day and age now than it was back then. I think it'd be hard. Listen, I'm not saying, not speaking against it. If we get rid of all of it, great.
I mean, the only reason I might disagree with you, if you look at it as an example, as far as sweeping changes like the NFA was, so was the Patriot Act, which was 2001. Now, for some people, that may be ancient history, as was the National Defense Authorization Act, all of which reduced our freedoms in regards to personal information dramatically.
You disagree with Smeggy just because you like to. Tell the truth. Yeah.
Daniel, I hope you're right. But if I was a betting man, I would bet you're not going to pass a bill in this day and age that says all guns completely unrestricted to everyone. You're not going to do it. If you can, awesome. I'm totally behind you. Realistically, that's my prediction. We're going to get our rights back one step at a time, the way they were taken away one step at a time. That's my bet. So, maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, that's what happened today.
The Patriot, in regards to our personal information, that was done in one fell swoop. Do you feel that only can come from that side as far as taking large bites away, but as far as getting them back, we can only do them in small bites?
Yes. That's what I think.
And I think you're right, Smiggy.
Anyway, the Patriot Act came from a bunch of conservatives and stuff anyways, too. So it's not even a left-right thing. It's a big government thing.
It's not. It's both parties will screw you just in different ways. That's my personal opinion.
Both sides of the coin there.
It's because it's the same coin screwing you.
Yeah, it's just AC/DC, that's all.
Right. I can't find it. Okay, there's my mouse. All right. So are we even started the show yet? Or did you guys just get off on the...
No, we have not started the show yet. My news of a step in the right direction turned into a theoretical debate on go for it all or go baby steps.
In a sense, though, we did, because what is today's first subject?
California. So, is California a lost cause?
Exactly. And I think the general idea is that they're not a lost cause. They're just going to take a lot of work.
Before we discuss the show, I think it states reading, at least the definition, the working definition of what we're saying is a lost cause as far as this conversation is concerned. I just pulled this up off of Google in regards to what is a lost cause. Person or thing that can no longer hope to succeed or be changed for the better. So for some people that may be obvious, I just wanted to restate it before we went forward with the discussion.
Thanks, Mr. Dictionary.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mr. Google.
Yeah, I to get to the question then, I don't think that California is a lost cause. I know it can be easy to think that way because there hasn't been very many victories there recently. Although, that judge putting the temporary stop to the magazine ban, at least until the case goes through, that was a step in the right direction. At least someone has sense. The other thing is, California is actually a pretty darn big state, and there's a lot of gun owners that live there. And it does kind of suck that some of the cities seem to control the whole state, but it has very good hunting history and, just rights in general kind of stuff. I mean, back in the day, it had that very independent, free spirit type stuff like the Wild West. I mean, you had the gold rush and all that kind of stuff, and those types of people were very much into independence and, personal responsibility. So the history's there. If you could just get that back, you could start overturning some of this stuff.
You mentioned the gold rush, and that's going back to the 1850s. And you talk about how times have changed in our previous discussion, just in 15 years. I think you can't go back 150 years and draw analogies to today, as far as the culture of California. The current culture of California is half to 2/3 of the state tends to ride on the coast. And is very anti-gun, and the northern half part of the state and some of the inland mountain areas tend to be the more freedom-loving type areas, and there's not many people that live there numerically. And that the more people you have, the more votes you have. The more votes you have, the more politicians you have. The more politicians you have, the more laws you have that will reflect your cultural beliefs.
Well, the Old West was not as pro-gun as everyone thinks. I mean, look at all the, the stories about Deadwood, all those other towns where, you had to leave your guns with the sheriff if you were coming into town. That was some of the first gun laws, right?
Well, yeah, but just that's that independent kind of spirit of you got to do stuff for yourself. That's all I was getting at. And I agree, Dan, it was not the same as the Old West. I never said it was. And that's why I said, if you can get that type of culture back. So that's where I was going with that. But, California has not been like super crazy liberal for a really long time. I mean, they voted Republican for a really long time when they first started. And it's just kind of recently they turned Democrat. So, again, you always look at history. No, stuff changes, but you can change it back then. That's what I would hope for. So I don't think it's a lost cause. I think there's things to do, and there's a lot of good people fighting out there, and it'd be nice if some of the gun owners that live out there would also fight. It seems, I don't know how to rile them up or whatever, but there's a lot of gun owners, millions of gun owners in California, but the majority of them are just like, well, I guess this is how it is now. And I don't like that mentality. So if we can get them all fighting as hardly as the minority gun owners are fighting, then, that you could change it.
Go ahead. Oh, you all set? Okay, I guess I'll go.
Yes, that was the end of my statement.
Okay. I think that as long as what I'm going to classify as kitchen drawer gun owners as a classification of the type of gun owner that I'm referring to, which is a large percentage of the California gun owners, feel that, they have their gun, so they're good to go. They bought it before X, Y, and Z, so maybe nobody even knows they have it. Or they got it from Uncle Phil before Uncle Phil passed away or whatever. That they're going to sit and believe that they're fat and happy and not lift a finger for anyone else.
With their half a box of 38 specials?
Yep.
Maybe.
It's amazing that you would think, well, how can somebody with half a box think that they're fat and happy? Because they're never going to the range. They're never shooting that half a box that Uncle Phil bought for them 30 years ago or more.
How do you know this?
They just know they have it, and they look at it as a magic talisman.
I think you're making all this up. You're projecting all this. I don't think there's any study that's shown that that's how the attitude of a lone California gun owner.
Well, I'm not citing studies. I mean, that is my belief. Yes, I agree.
So is it a lost cause? No. And if it's a lost cause, then it's that same cartoon where we're just sitting in one side of the rowboat complaining about the people that aren't bailing fast enough on the other side of the rowboat. We're all in the same country. So unless we're all about not having the United States and just having a bunch of individual states,
Well,
whatever, then it's not a lost cause. Not going to finish. So it's not a lost cause. And I think that, like Smeggy said, it hasn't always been that way. It's not like there's a percentage of those people that are different. I think they just have been voting that way lately. And I think a lot of that comes from the money. So where does a lot of the California money come from? Agriculture, and then Hollywood. But I think one way to battle it is to, and it's already being done, is to pay less and less attention to those movies that come out of Hollywood. That gives them less money and less power to influence. And in other words, you can only fight. You can only respond. You can only respond to the attack, and then you can sit back and complain every time people didn't defend against the onslaught well enough. Or you could additionally take out the support for the other side. So take out their financial legs, take out their social legs, take out their political legs. So why should we only defend the actual bills? Why not go after the individuals who are people that are funding the individuals that are specific? Maybe that's a way that we haven't yet, and maybe once we've mastered it in California, the other states will be easy. California is huge. It'll be easy to do Connecticut once we figure out how to do California. We know most of the people talking about it, and most of the people don't even live in California. I don't agree with Dano that the 7 million gun owners that did nothing, approximately, during the Gunmageddon were anything. I think that 7 million individuals had all kinds of situations going on in their lives, and their awareness of what was going on, and their ability to, the amount of time that was involved. But I think that a heck of a lot of us are not in California, and that's where most 99% of that money comes from. The Hollywood isn't from Californians. They're not creating their own financial success over there. We're the ones who are watching those movies.
Yeah, true.
Well, and another aspect of it is if we can get some good pro-gun and pro-rights, movies and directors and all that kind of stuff, that would help too. Then, because then you're giving money to those types of people, and they might be the type that can help change public opinion.
For sure. See some movies where guns aren't the bad guy.
Or where you know that the actors are if not actively promoting gun rights, or at least a pro-gun right person, right? Because there are a lot of people like that in Hollywood. They just can't. If they sing, they know that that's going to cost them millions of dollars in future work. But if we know that they're pro-gun, then we can make a point of supporting those actors.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Well, I can barely see the screen today, so hopefully you guys can take care of watching the country comments coming in. But I can watch the clock, so we'll go ahead into the next segment of the show, which is a bunch of blank spots. It's a little squiggly here.
Well, I just want to point, you mentioned the comments there, so I'll just point out there's a lot of people just saying never give up, never surrender. You know, it's just because it's hard work doesn't mean, you know, it can't be done and all that kind of stuff. So I'm obviously summarizing all the stuff, but it seems like people do agree that it's not a lost cause and they don't just want to give up. And I just want to take this time then to just do a quick plug of the Firearm Policy Coalition, because they seem to do a lot of work in California and they seem like good people. So, you know, they have some pretty cool t-shirts and stuff. Maybe buy one from them. Send a couple bucks their way.
And I think they have a representative that might have been, well, or at least a supporter that's been on our show. And yeah, I think they're a pretty good group.
Yeah, and they joined us for Every Second Matters a couple months ago and seemed like good people. So
yeah, their attorney and their chief guy have both been on our show.
I just have a hard time going before we completely leave the issue at hand. After hearing and seeing what I've seen over the decades since I've been an adult since the 70s, and having any hope or faith that they're going to even slowly start to turn around. Now, the moment I see an indicator that they will fend for themselves, I will be right there supporting them. But I want to see them at least attempt to save themselves.
So are you saying that they're not doing that now then?
Yeah, if they're not going to bail out their side of the boat, he's going to just let them drown and just bail his part of the boat.
Well,
Collectively, they're not.
Well, I guess my point would be that are all of them doing it? No, but there are people who are fighting. That's why I specifically mentioned some. And
are there enough to make even a minimal difference at this point? Unfortunately, yes, there's a lot, but there's not enough.
Dano, and the people that we have that have good gun laws, are there people there that are, you know, diligent about making sure that they keep those laws and that, you know, they're got an eye on things? Or if those laws started to come into those other states, could they bleed in? I mean, you know, saying that enough Californians aren't fighting hard enough is well, number one, it's kind of insulting, because the ones who are fighting hard are fighting against some really powerful entities that are definitely anti-gun, and they're also they've got money.
The judgment upon the collective. That's what I'm judging, is that the collective is not working for their own rights. Many individuals are, but there aren't enough of those individuals to have an effect on the collective.
Well, I guess just to kind of finish through my thought, I kind of lost part of what I was saying, but I just plain disagree with you. I think that they are fighting, and I will support the ones that are fighting, and hopefully that will get more people fighting. So the idea of saying, well, until they're winning, then I'll start backing them. No, they need our help now. So
yeah,
that's what I'm going to go with.
Or to just say there's not enough of them fighting, so I'm not going to, until I see the majority of them fighting, now I'm not going to go and help. I mean, that's I don't know. It doesn't seem American. You can never surrender.
Okay, that's our transition.
All right, sounds good. So we saved California today. That's good.
All right, so we saved California. What else do we need to do today?
Excuse me. On the USS California, why are my feet getting so wet? There's something in the bottom of the boat. Is it the keel? No, it's a big giant hole. Brought to you by the collective.
So we'll just stuff it full of Bloomberg cash. That'll plug it up.
All right, so we're going into the wild card topic today, which I don't know what we're doing. We're going to let the audience decide the wild card topic.
If we have some that want to help us out, sure. That's kind of the idea here.
All right, so then we'll let the audience decide what the next topic of the show is going to be. And while we do that, we'll mention we'll feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. The Gun Channels is a community we built a while back. It's focused on firearms. There's lots of stuff to do over there, lots of people to hang out with. out. It's completely run by its members, and because of that, we like to remember each day. And today, who is it? Can't read this.
Sean Connery.
Connery. Okay, so
It is the Pawnery.
Sean Connery, and I forget what the theme is this week. I think these were sent in by Angry. I think it says in the notes there somewhere.
Yes, it was in the notes and then somehow lost.
Where are you going?
Don't tell us what the theme is, Dano.
The theme is
We
sent
don't
in
know
by.
what the theme is.
So anyhow,
Only Angry does.
Connery is one of the active members over in Gun Channels. He's host of the long format, many hour long Gun Channel show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. He also hangs out in Good Morning or in Early Watch on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So, like say, one of the more active members of Gun Channel since he's on probably more often than almost anyone. And obviously one of the big winners, if not the biggest winner right now, of our daily pop quizzes and the tactical quiz. Participant in general and the stuff that happens over our Gun Channel. So when we built the place, that's exactly the kind of person we were building it for. He was just talking today in his earlier show about the concept of not being a one-trick pony, and some of the gun people he knows who really can't talk about anything else. But I think Connery is a good example. Like he said, he can hold his own with cars or food or about half a dozen different topics and subjects that he's interested in, as well as guns. So good example for just the community in general, that we're all well-rounded and can have a healthy interest in a type of machinery, or in his case, big bores and whatnot.
He's a big
Would
bore
you
lover.
say that he likes big bores and cannot deny?
That can
And
be
possibly
taken in so many
other Gun Channels members can't deny?
that can be taken in so many wrong ways, Snake.
I know, but I wanted to quote a song because I thought it was clever. Yeah, I like Sean, good guy, and like you said, he's always on during the day, and he posts those shows up, which is nice when I'm sitting at work, got something to talk to or something to listen to, and then text chat along. I've jumped in a couple times on lunch break or whatever, but yeah, good provides a good service for the bored people at work during the day.
Yeah, true that.
And
Yeah,
he likes big bore, reloading, cars and trucks and all sorts of other stuff too. So you got any questions, talk to him.
That's Richard.
Any suggested topics out there on YouTube or Gun Channels, feel free to type it in the side. We're keeping an eye out. Otherwise, we can skip over that and come back to it later, maybe, if we're waiting.
Yeah.
So what do we go to next then?
Let's see.
I don't know.
We can do State of the State if you want. Since we just did kind of cover another topic related to it.
Well, why don't we try that?
Do it.
Alrighty then. It's time for Tuesday's State of the State. Do you like that electronic special effect? All right. Whether I'm echoing or not, here we go. All right. California is our state of the state for Tuesday, August 1st, 2017. All right. State permit required to purchase? Yes, for both long guns and handguns. Firearm registration? Yes, for both long guns and handguns. Firearm owner's license required, like a FOID card, firearm identification card? No, they do not have that. Don't need it because they register every firearm. Assault weapons laws? Yes, including a law banning 50 BMG rifles that were acquired prior to June 1st, 1989. Magazine capacity restrictions? Yes. And with a little caveat on that, I know we have some ongoing things right now at the moment that have been put on hold, as we mentioned both a little bit earlier in this show. Smeggy mentioned it, as well as we've talked about in the previous days. Hopefully that gets taken care of, but you never know which way these things go. In regards to carry permits, absolutely, in regards to both pistol and rifle. In regards to open carry, they list it as partial. I'm just going to read a little divot here. It says long guns may be carried in unincorporated rural areas where open carry is permitted by local ordinance. In a county with a population of less than 200,000 permits, a permit to carry a handgun loaded and exposed may be issued by the county sheriff. Now here's kind of an interesting caveat. I'll go ahead and read one more. A person may also open carry if he or she reasonably believes that any person or the property of any person is in immediate grave danger and that person carrying of the weapon is necessary for the preservation of that person or property. Our next category is state preemption of local restrictions is yes. Castle Doctrine is yes. NFA items are allowed, which kind of shocks me that they have not gone after NFA items. But they are allowed. Peaceable journey law says that they are indeed respected. Waiting period they do have for both long guns and handguns, although it's currently pending a Supreme Court ruling. So that may indeed change from what it currently is, which I believe is 10 days. So hopefully that will indeed change. And background checks required for private sales is an absolute yes. Private party transfers of firearms must be conducted through a licensed dealer who is required by federal law to conduct a background check and keep a record of sale. And that is the state of California.
So they do respect the rights of, so if you're traveling with firearms that might be restricted in California, you can travel through California with them?
That it's, you know, according to that website, it says they respect the peaceable journey laws. Now,
cool.
in regards to that, you're going to want to verify anytime you travel that any website is up to date and current. And their version of respect is the same thing in your regards. Like right now, I'd be a little bit concerned about going through California with either my AR or some of my larger capacity magazines.
Okay.
Right. And that's one of those things that, yes, theoretically they're supposed to let you go through, but New York's the same way. Theoretically, they're supposed to let you go through, and then you hear about if you end up spending the night there or something, then you get in trouble. Like there was that dude on the airplane who his flight got delayed or something. He went to a hotel. As soon as he picked up his check bag, he was, you know, against the rules because he had a gun in there or whatever. So yeah, I would just recommend just not bringing this stuff through California if you're not 100% sure. You certainly can't just bring it if you're going on vacation to California.
No, but if you're traveling,
I'm not really quite sure why you have to drive through anyways.
But if you're traveling through California on your way to, say, Arizona, down the coast highway, they can't say anything about it. Then you'd think.
Right? Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah.
But again,
just hope nothing bad happens. But
I'll have to check that to make sure.
Laws, state, local, and federal laws are constantly in flux. You should always verify before you begin your trip.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Because sometimes if you spend the night, then they don't consider you traveling through anymore.
Right.
Which is dumb because you're probably not getting all the way through the state in one day.
Exactly. But I'm thinking if I'm traveling in my RV down the coast there from BC, from British Columbia, you know, that's the highway, that's the road. If I have to overnight in my RV, they shouldn't be able to hassle me. But again, I take Dano's point, and yeah, I would want to check before I hit the border.
Yeah, because they do tend to not follow that kind of stuff. But anyway, so there is some stuff that's going on right now. You know, I think everyone's pretty well aware of, you know, the magazine ban. There's an injunction on that, and just the other day, actually, the state attorney general filed, or to be like an appeal of the injunction, trying to get rid of that, even though there's another case going on that's trying to decide if they're even allowed to ban 30-round magazines or not. And but if that injunction goes away, then theoretically you'd have to get rid of all of them. And then even if that case says, you know what, we're not allowed to ban them, you'd never be able to get them back anyways, because the other part, there's a different law that says you can't buy them. So the only ones that people have are ones that they got a while ago, they got grandfathered in, and there's new ones trying to get rid of the grandfathered ones, but you can't buy new ones now anyways. So that's part of the reason the injunction's in there, because it's like, well, we're about to figure out if you're allowed to do this at all, so why not hold off on banning them until we find out if you're allowed to or not? So that's like the most recent thing that's going on. And then what else was passed? They say they passed a bunch of stuff all right in the row, right? So you had a different assault weapons ban where they modified it to where bullet buttons don't count as attached magazines anymore. That used to be the way you could configure a gun, is it either has an attached magazine or detached. And if it has detached, then if it has all these other features like pistol grip and muzzle device and blah, 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 all the other stuff, then it's considered an assault weapon. You have to register it. But if it has an attached magazine, that doesn't count. So people put bullet buttons on there, left everything else basically normal, and it wasn't an assault weapon. Now they're saying, nope, that the bullet button doesn't count as attaching. So there are other people that came up with a different way of stopping the magazine from being removed without taking the action apart. So as soon as you have to take the action apart, that counts as being attached. And then other people are doing the whole thing where, you put a weird stock on it instead of a pistol grip and this, that, and the other. And it's still even going through. I'm sorry, was that Daniel?
I was just going to say, I saw that one innovative, unfortunately, workaround that seemed to have some potential of using the takedown pins as a way of accessing the top of a fixed magazine and kind of going backwards a little bit in regards to loading a magazine. Is using some sort of, you'd have to modify, obviously, your rifle, but almost with a stripper clip type arrangement. I thought that was kind of an ingenious way of trying to work with, as much as you can, the regulation and still being able to enjoy your AR.
They have those that also go through the ejection.
If you're going to open it, then it's not a gun anymore. Now it's taken apart. So if you open it, then the ones are just a regular button again. So now you can just change your mag. You don't have to load it with a stripper clip and open it. You can get ones that the mag is attached and then it loads with a stripper clip without coming apart.
Yeah, kind of from the side, right?
Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. But yeah, and I think the gun industry is one of those that it shows the unique innovation of what we think of as American is still there in small business, as a reflection of how quickly guys in their garages, so to speak, can come up with some workaround for some of these crazy laws to try. Some people can still
implies that you're somehow working around the system or in competition with the system, when in fact they're complying with the regulations that are imposed on them, the infringements that are imposed on them. I do agree with you, though, that it's just innovation.
Law.
Okay, again, we cannot agree, but I think workaround implies that you're having to work around the established system, where compliance is more of a word that means you're complying with the rules or whatever they're regular.
Yeah, it's just the way it
versus right, but I guess we disagree.
I agree with you on the innovation, that there's people that are ingenious and they're able to come up with ways that weren't necessarily part of the platforms in order to comply with the infringements that are being imposed on them. But I also think that shows that it just solidifies the theory or the position that there is no lethality in owning of property, and these pieces of property that can do basically the thing that the antis think is so bad, shoot a lot of bullets quickly and then be reloaded and shoot more bullets quickly again. And in spite of the fact that they try to ban that and people are able to comply with their their infringements and create firearms that can still do that, that there's still no more in violence, and there's no increase in violence, and there's no increase in people literally, disobeying the law. There's just, like you say, a pervasive move to continue to shoot recreationally and to comply with the firearms laws. And I think that's an important fact too, that they want to continue to keep pushing it down as though that's going to remove guns from society, when in fact it does nothing to remove guns from society. In addition to not removing guns from society, crime goes down in spite of their theory that firearms are the problem. So I think that's something that we don't want to lose sight of, in the fact that we're not winning in California necessarily. Nothing about what's happening over there is falling into their agenda or their theory of how the world is with firearms.
Yeah, but they're still trying stuff. They're still trying anti stuff, and that's, if I can get into maybe a little bit of what's going on right now. So those were some recent ones that are still being fought, but there's some stuff, still now going through the state level, different bills or whatever. But I want to touch on, I just went back a couple of months. I might be missing some. There's a lot of updates when you search for California, like gun laws changing, because there's been a lot of stuff going on. But as of July 10th, they sent Assembly Bill 7 to the suspends floor, which basically means it's there for future consideration at a later date. And Assembly Bill 7 would restrict open carry of an unloaded firearm on public property by including unincorporated areas as prohibited places. So they already can't open carry. And then, I guess you kind of can carry an unloaded firearm. And now they're trying to restrict even more where you can carry an unloaded firearm. So I don't know why they're so against open carry. I mean, it seems ridiculous to me, but that's so. Anyways, it was in the Appropriations Committee, and now it's in the suspend floor. So it's like sitting there for a while, but it could be brought up at any time. So, well, actually, hang on. Fiscal communities must pass legislation out of committee by September 1st deadline. So if it gets passed out of the committee by September 1st, then it goes on, to the main floor and all that stuff. If not, I guess it just dies in committee. So maybe it's a good thing that they suspended it for now, because if they wait a few months, it might not pass. But that was kind of the small one. The other big ones is this is as of July 19th. Let's see. They passed Senate Bill 464 and will now head to the Assembly floor. Let's see. 497 was suspended, and 424 remains eligible for a third reading and a vote on the Senate floor. And it will be eligible when they come back from summer recess, which I think I saw was August 21st or something. All right, so 464 is the one that passed committee. That one further increases the mandatory storage and security requirements for licensed firearms dealer. California already has some of the strictest laws in the country regarding how dealers must store and secure firearms. And this basically just adds more costs and mandates on, law-abiding business owners. So that's the one that passed the committee. Let's see which one. 497 was suspended. So that's kind of the same as the open carry. It could be brought up at any time until the deadline. And that one would extend California's one handgun a month legislation or limitation to all guns. So you would only be allowed to buy one firearm in a 30-day period. Which that's completely stupid. Like, what if you just got a bunch of money and you want to buy a couple of guns? And so then I guess the other one that's eligible for the third vote on the floor, which is 424, and that one, it would remove the authority of a school district superintendent to provide written permission for a person to possess a firearm within a school zone. So that's actually, they're trying to get rid of something that's kind of pro, which is, as of right now, a school district superintendent or an equivalent school authority can provide written permission to say, like, this person, John Smith, is allowed to possess a firearm within a school zone. Like, they can have a designated people, and they're trying to get rid of that.
And that does illustrate that, you know, there is two Californias, because, and that's a good demarcation of that line. I mean, in Northern California and Western California, that's exactly where that sort of things happens.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, all of California is not Looney Tunes.
So, anyways, and there's probably is some more that I missed, but that's about as much as I found that was fairly recent. Like I said, a lot of it's all just fighting over the newest regulations, and you know how they filed stuff and then that got rejected by the Department of Justice, and then they had to redo it. And everyone's supposed to be remember that their ammo, to be an ammo seller, you need a different license now. And you were supposed to be able to sign up for that starting July 1st. And they don't have the system in place. They don't even know exactly like what all the restrictions are going to be. So I think that deadline got pushed back because that was going to kick in January 1st. But, you know, it's like, that's just another thing. You probably got to pay money for it. You probably got to comply with all this different stuff. So they're just trying to restrict all sorts of stuff. It's crazy.
Well, that's the one thing all gun laws have in common. They seem to be crazy.
I was out there talking about, you know, if there's no guns, people would throw rocks. You better ban rocks. What about pointy sticks? Ban dogs. They can bite.
No, look at what happened in England, right? They banned guns. Well, there's actually more gun crime in England than there was before they banned guns almost completely. And knife crimes and home invasions with bats and knives and machetes have gone up substantially for the very fact that most people have no way to defend themselves. You know, you're a 60-year-old pensioner. You and your wife are sitting watching the telly, and all of a sudden 3 young thugs break in with, you know, crowbars and baseball bats and machetes. What are you going to do? Nothing. You're just going to get robbed, or, you know, hopefully that's all they do is rob you of possessions. But I mean, it must be just horrible to live there and be under that kind of threat constantly if you live in a bigger city.
So there you go. Well, that's the state of California. Not looking so great for gun owners.
I mean, they're still fighting. There's still lots of people in California that are fighting to try to get their rights back, and I think we should do everything we can to help support them.
I agree with that. Even though your Canadian flag blasphemy, that's okay. Because you guys are kind of similar, so
yeah,
you can feel California's pain.
That's the thing is we're actually teensy tiny bit in some ways. We're a little better than them, but yeah, in some ways we're a little worse. But we're almost in the same boat, depending on where you live. But it's a little
worse. A little worse.
Look, we can still own, you know. What can we own that's better than, well, yeah. We can still own a gun that will take a 30-round magazine. We just have to have
freedom of speech in Toronto.
Oh yeah, Toronto. Well, I don't even really like to think about it as being part of Canada anymore. My Canada starts at the Manitoba-Ontario border.
Oh, I know you don't call them states, but that's how I kind of view it. I unfortunately, is not the country, nor is, and thank goodness my state that I live in is not the country.
Too true.
Otherwise, we'd all be screwed.
Oh my God. G Webs is a funny
Something I
person.
share
I'm
with
just
all
going to
of us.
say that right now. Completely off topic. G Webs is a funny person.
All right, let's keep going.
Well, apparently he doesn't have time to take part in the show.
No,
I
I
agree.
know.
The son's in my eyes.
I've met him. He's an odd fellow.
The sun's in my eyes. I can't read nothing. I told you. So there's another topic, I'm sure.
Yeah, there is. But you want to do like the gun of the day or something real quick as a kind of palate cleanser?
Let's do that.
As a
We'll hand
palate
out-
cleanser.
Yeah,
That's
the
pretty
it's
smart.
not gonna. It's
We're gonna hand out hot towels and do the gun of the day.
it's truly not going to be much of a cleanser, because I've got a theme going. It's a Cobra Terminator 12 gauge shotgun. I think they made about 15,000 of them. It's a single shot 12 gauge open bolt shotgun. As crazy as that sounds, but yeah, it's an interesting looking piece of equipment, I guess we'd call it. I don't know if anybody can share it. I don't have anything to share as far as pictures go, but
Yeah, that's what I was looking up right now.
okay. Yeah, it is a real piece of work. But single shot 12 gauge, it was about $90 retail, so it was, as inexpensive as, a regular 12 gauge single shot. But it is not what you consider a fine piece of equipment. It works. It fires.
Is this it here? It looks like a tube.
Yeah. Basically,
I guess is what a gun is.
yeah, it's about as basic as you can get, right? It does function kind of odd. Like you think open bolt, okay, the bolt's going to slam onto the round. It doesn't work like that. The chamber and shell and barrel come sliding back onto a fixed firing pin. So you can imagine the mass moving when you pull the trigger, right? And then you get slammed by a 12 gauge on a really crappy shoulder stock. But
So you're saying like this whole piece comes,
the whole
the barrel and all that stuff
right?
slides
You see,
back.
The picture on the far right, the barrel is forward. You can see the barrel sticking out. That's when it's ready to fire. And then
Fire then.
yeah, and then when you fire it, that whole barrel and assembly with the shell in it and everything slides back. It's got a big spring in it. And
Okay,
slams.
so you don't have to pull it back. It falls backwards.
Right, it falls backwards. Yeah. So it's got a big
So
spring.
This is a fixed piece. So here's your firing pin right here.
Yeah. And when you fire it, the barrel and everything slides back into the shroud and slams into and it locks, right? The chamber locks. This little thing comes out and locks it. Oh
So
yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
the back position.
yeah,
Okay.
it looked kind of cool, but I'd actually like to try firing one. I don't know if they're hard to get a hold of, but I would like to just fire one, just say I did.
I've never
Is this
seen one.
crappy gun week?
What's that?
Is this crappy gun week?
I'm not telling you what it is till the end of the week.
Well, I'm just thinking you had Taurus yesterday, which is something.
It's my choice, so you'll have to figure it out at the end of the week.
Yep, it's your choice. Absolutely.
Taurus isn't a shitty gun.
I didn't say shitty.
You implied it.
Those are your words, not mine.
All right,
Words
seems
matter.
like there's not very many pictures of it. I'm already into all sorts of weird stuff now. I didn't even scroll down that far.
No, I don't think there's a whole lot out there. Like I say, there isn't that many made. They're one of those unusual. It's the kind of gun that somebody who collects Saturday night specials would probably go, "Oh, I want to have one of those because they're so weird."
I'm thinking the few people that have them probably weren't very proud to take a picture.
It's it's one of those guns you could see like some country that could barely manufacture anything. Like it looks like the kind of thing you could make in a bicycle shop, much like a Sten gun. So it's like, okay, well, we got the Sten guns we can produce. Why don't we just produce a single shot shotgun that works kind of the same, except instead of the bolt flying forward, we're gonna have the whole barrel. We're gonna do it in reverse. It's just a weird gun. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. So that's that. And that's our gun of the day, the Cobra Terminator. Cool name, anyway.
Yeah, that is a cool name. It's got that going for it. I guess I wouldn't kick it out of my gun safe if it was in there.
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
go out of my way to add it.
Do we have any suggestions from the viewers on a topic for today?
I like my topic.
Okay. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I didn't know.
Well, I mean, that's why I put a question mark.
We
But
haven't had any.
you said sure, and Bob said sounds good. So
Well, I thought it came from the audience, though, or was that you suggesting it?
that was me. Yeah, the audience was talking about all sorts of weird stuff. They didn't say nothing.
No. Okay.
Oh, Garant says top 10 bucket list guns.
Oh, nice.
I think mine's a little more topical.
Yeah, yours is because tomorrow is the 2nd.
So
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else out there.
I'm also biased though
Angry
because I don't
American is
like
telling
doing
me to
top
watch
10s.
my mouth. Taurus is acceptable. Well, if that's not an endorsement of a brand, I don't know what is. Chevrolet is absolutely acceptable.
That's what all you can say about a Chevy.
Yeah, I don't always drink Dos Equis, but I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
Really? I don't like it.
Because
I think it's fine, but
acceptable.
and that was a major commercial run of just like, I guess it's all right. I prefer it if I feel like it. But anyways, I say we get into this next topic, which, however the heck I worded it, was basically.
The AFK, so let's go ahead and start it.
Oh, is he AFK? I didn't see that part.
Either that or we're going to do pop quiz of the day right now.
I'm not AFK. I just told you I can't read nothing, so you guys are just ignoring.
Why can't
Yeah,
you
I knew that. I
read?
thought you were still here.
Did you get something in your eye?
I never learned to read, Dana. Come on.
Wow.
Now you're publicly
Yes.
shaming him, man. Like, how mean is that, dude? That's just ridiculous.
It makes me wonder, how can that dude freaking type? Because I've seen him type.
No, he's got a computer that does it for him. You ever heard how loud he types?
Oh, he's got one of those audio translators.
Mm-hmm. But anyways,
Speech to type.
if we can jump into the third topic of the day, this is our wild card topic, and I'm going with what to do on Every Second Matters. Considering that is tomorrow, maybe we can give our audience some ideas.
Actually, depending on your time zone, it's anywhere between 4 hours to 6 hours ish from now. Except that if you're in Hawaii or Alaska, then it's somewhere further out.
So, what do you guys do on Every Second Matters? Or should we even explain what it is at first?
I think that would be a good place to start.
All right. Well, Every Second Matters is a awareness campaign of the Second Amendment, and it takes place the second day of every month. So there's 12 of them in a year, and it basically started out as an idea of, starting conversations with people. Again, awareness. Just, oh, hey, did you hear about this? Blah blah blah. Maybe converting some of the middle of the road people into being a little more Second Amendment type people, or whatever. And it has kind of grown. It's still just a grassroots. Everyone does their own thing, basically. However, recently there's been a little bit more of a scheduled show where there's a live show that focuses on the things that have been done recently, the things coming up, where people need help. We've had different like gun rights groups on the show. Like we had mentioned a little bit ago, Firearm Policy Coalition was on a little bit ago. We've had the lawyers from Florida Carry. We've had all sorts of different guests and, all sorts of just different regular people that are fighting at their state level or federal level or doing whatever. So there is a website also, if you want to check out everysecondmatters.com. It's similar to Gun Channels. You can sign up free for an account and then, post information about states' rights groups or laws that went through. There's a discussion area where we're trying to keep track of all the different bills that go through. I do a lot of work on that. In fact, I still have to do it for this month. I'll try and do an update of everything that happened in the month of July. And, broken down by state, federal level, blah, 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 whatever.
Now, I don't even remember. I was in on the starting up. I remember we were because it all just came out because of a chat on what we could do to raise awareness. And I don't remember how long ago it was. It's got to be 4 years. I'm thinking, but gee, Webs, do you remember how long ago we started it? Every Second Matters?
End of 2013.
So it's coming up on 4 years then.
Yeah.
Like the end of this year will be 4 years.
Right. I knew it's been quite a while. Like there's been a lot of work done on it by members of gun channels. And that's the kind of grassroots things that make the difference. Now, we're pretty small compared to some of the bigger groups, but I think it's important. I think it really is. I obviously don't enjoy Second Amendment rights, but when I do come down to visit, because of the way the laws work, I can kind of enjoy a little taste of it. And believe me, if I could, I would live where they give you the right of self-defense and such. So you guys are really lucky to have it, and I think people have to really, make a real effort to defend it. It's really important.
Well, something else you could do is go to gearwebsites.com, the store, and buy a set of 4 Every Second Matters patches. And then when they come in the mail a couple of days later, I'll hand them out to people, give them as gifts, put them around, maybe buy 4 more.
Well, that's certainly a thing to do. That's my Every Second Matters patch is center stage in my new truck, and everyone hates that I'm talking about it so much, so I just put that dig in. But yeah, that's a good idea. It starts conversations. Let me go. That's what I do on Every Second Matters, which it's similar to what I do kind of every day, because if I find an opportunity to talk about guns, I talk about guns, but I try and go that extra step of really, trying to start up conversations with people, especially if I know, they kind of like guns. Like maybe, I got a couple rifles, but whatever. Like those are the types of people I want to convert, if it's the right word, into like, more Second Amendment oriented. And, whatever name you want to call those people, like they are gun owners. They just don't care that much about the rights or whatever. Those are going to be the easiest ones to get to start fighting for us. And especially if there's a very good infringement, or not good, but like a big infringement come in, then they would agree like, oh yeah, we can't have that. Or if there's something, like whatever, Hearing Protection Act or blah, 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 these other things, it's like, oh, this is something we can all rally behind. And even kind of the, I don't know what the heck's the right word. I don't want to call it, like, I don't know what the right word is, but the more passive gun owner or whatever, like even they can get behind oh yeah, like Human Protection Act, that makes sense, or national reciprocity. Like, okay, yeah, I can get behind that. You know, they're not necessarily the hardcore advocates, but they're still our teammates. So that's kind of what I do. And then secondly is I prepare for the Every Second Matters show, where I compile all the stuff that has been introduced, passed, vetoed, signed, you know, whatever thing has happened with state level bills for the whole month of July. I prepare that and talk about it on the show.
And we appreciate
That's personally what I do, but I see some other good ideas out there and stuff, but I'm interested, you know, Bob or Dano, what do you guys think? There's some suggestions of things people can do on Every Second Matters tomorrow.
So I tell you what I would do while those guys are thinking about it. So I'll usually send off emails to, like Smeggy was saying, the people that have been on the show before. So the people from Florida, Carrie, Sean, and Eric, and then Charles Heller from Arizona Citizens Defense League, who's pretty much the only guy from there that'll go on the internet to talk to people. Then I'll send it to the FPC people, the Firearms Policy Coalition, people in California that we've had on the show before and have expressed interest to be on the show again. I'll usually send an email to Jeff Knox and Chris. What's the other one? Knox, the writer, and the son of Neil. Can't think of his last name. I'll think of it when I'm not trying to think of it. Anyway, the two writers that have been on the show before. And then people that are, like Smeggy said, just been in the show for a long time. So everybody back from Cork and Stone Guy and One Bad Marine and Yankee and Never Enough Ammo to like Hosh and Haas and Hash Tactical, people that have been on the show occasionally. All those emails go out. I usually head over to the website and do whatever updates. Typically on a website, you're going to have little applications and things that click it over to Facebook, you know, things that have to be updated. Not every single month, but basically that's the, you know, I take that opportunity to go in and update it. And I set up everything over on YouTube to set the video up. We usually do it after this show, depending on what day of the week it is. And then once everything is set up to be a video, to be a show, and then the email has gone out with a link to it, and then we do this show, that's pretty much the time to start that show up. So, you know, we do the show for about an hour or more, and you know, it takes a little bit of time before that to get it all set up.
Well, all I do is try to participate in any way I can, because obviously, you know, I'm in a different country.
Yeah, but do you ever then use it to maybe talk to your Canadian neighbors and be like, hey, how come we don't have as many gun rights as they do? And like try and change the tide of Canada as well. I mean, even though you don't have a Second Amendment, it still kind of, it gives you an excuse, or at least puts it in the front of your mind, like, oh yeah, gun rights are cool. Maybe we should try getting some of them.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, I and that's something I do. I mean, I talk to people all the time about how we should have in Canada, and try to get them to realize that we have a real history up here about firearms, and that they've been part of our culture since the beginning. And you know, I'm lucky. I'm near a military base. Where I live now, it's very pro-gun. Unfortunately, they're also, you know, where I live now, we, you know, don't have as much political clout as the other provinces, such as, you know, Toronto or not Toronto, but Ontario and Quebec, where they do have problems with gun violence. Like, we don't have problems with gun violence. I mean, it's, you know, pretty uncommon here. But they do in the bigger cities, of course, like always happens, right? Big cities, criminals don't care about gun laws, so they're going to abuse guns and use them for the wrong purposes. And and it just, you know, puts a black eye on guns. But I mean, legal gun owners in Canada are some of the most law-abiding. So it makes no sense that we don't have the right to carry our handguns, at least openly. You know, at the very least openly. I would love to see concealed carry, and it is something you can apply for in Canada, but they just never issue it. It's one of those. I guess the whole country's a may issue, and they never issue, unless you're, I guess, a rich politician or something.
It's called may not.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
There should be a May issue campaign where everybody applies for a CCW in May.
That's
a good idea.
Yeah, I like that. We should talk about that on Every Second Matters. Because like I say, it's you can apply in Canada. It's just like they're never going to give it to you. But you know, if you get enough people to apply, it would, if nothing else, piss the chief firearms officer off, because they would be swamped.
Well, it would show them how much, like, what the demand is for it. You know, that's
yeah. Oh, too true. Yeah, that's an actual excellent idea. I'm going to bring it up with some of our gun rights groups here in Canada and see if they can get it, if it gets any traction. That just makes perfect sense, and it could be like a once-a-year thing. Every May, it's May issue month. Everybody, fill out the paperwork, send it in. Probably just
a few things that I do, and for me, I think having whether it be an annual, monthly, or in this case, I guess it is monthly, a reminder to pay attention to what's going on is a good thing. I happen to be proactive in regards to I belong and I'm active in both my Illinois State Rifle Association and being a member there, as well as Illinois Carry organization, and keeping an eye on individual bills within the state House and Senate of my state, to include emailing, snail mailing, calling and leaving messages at critical times, rather than just, you know, oh, something's been issued, let's send an email. We'll wait until the bill literally is going to be heard before the commission that day, and then call, and we can file what's called witness list, which is just an electronic way of saying I'm either for or I'm against something. And then, you know, we all call in mass, issuing. We can usually get anywhere between 400 and 800 votes that are, you know, pro freedom, and usually very few that'll call in against with our electronic system. But the politicians, I'm not sure if they pay attention to that or not, but it is a tool, and I believe in using whatever tools we have, because we have time.
How many numbers did you say?
But not to waste.
How many numbers did you say approximately?
It wasn't how many members, it was how many people may actually call in on individual bills that I cited.
Yeah, what was the number you cited there?
600 to 800.
Okay.
Which is just a mere fraction
of
how many gun owners we have.
That's what I was going to say. If it was like 2,500, then I'd get behind Illinois. But until you guys can get up those numbers, I don't think I can.
And I can't blame you. We only deserve the support we earn.
If you guys aren't going to, like, you know, make an effort.
Hey, again, I've said it once. Do I need to say it again? We, along with all other states, certainly deserve what we've earned, good or bad.
Well, so I'm on so I've got limited battery power, and we're coming up on the 90-minute mark, and I think it's about to rain.
I know. I'm feeling a little cool. I might have to put a windbreaker on.
All right, just a moment.
And then he's not even
really, it's hot where I'm at. I certainly don't need a windbreaker.
Well, but you might need a hurricane shelter. Tornado shelter? I don't know what you get.
It's time It's time. It's time for the Tactical Pop Quiz. That's right, boys and girls. Put your cursor down on the text box, limber up your fingers, and get ready to go. Smeggy, are you available to assist today?
Yeah. Those questions sucks. But anyways, okay. I'm ready.
You need a minute?
No, I'm ready.
I agree with Smeggy.
Me too. That's 3.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give you a wall hint. It is a 2-part question. Both parts must be in the same line. It was submitted by Cycle Camp. So the question is as follows. What proving ground shares its name with a location where a mass killing occurred, and where was the state that the proving ground is located in? So, want to know where
What
was
kind of
the
proving
mass
ground?
killing?
I'm confused.
Proving
guess
ground
they
where they
part that
test
way.
munitions.
But then what state
Can you hear the rain?
is the proving ground in?
Can you hear the rain here?
Are you sure your
Barely.
dog's just not peeing on you?
Oh no, it's a lot of rain.
He has Russian hookers do that.
Oh, it actually sounds pretty good.
And down too.
No correct answers yet. We're seeing a couple that are saying stuff in Maryland.
Maryland.
Yes.
Another one, same name, but in New Mexico.
Wrong part of the country there.
They're saying Aberdeen Proving Grounds, probably.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I didn't know what that was, but okay.
It's Cycle
That's
Camp
in Maryland,
Swamp.
but it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. That horrible question again was, what proving ground shares its name with a mass killing location, and where is it located? Not Fort Hood is a proving ground.
I like Area 51, but he didn't say what state, so darn.
Area 51.
There's been a lot of aliens killed at Area 51, you know, when they're doing scientific experiments and stuff.
I went through there. It was scary. There was all these alien ghosts.
I like the sound of that rain. It's very relaxing.
Didn't we already agree it was Russian hookers, not rain?
Kind of makes me want to go to the bathroom.
Cycle Camp is a little offended that we said it was a bad question, but oh well. I don't care.
Yeah. It's a good question. It's just a bad thing.
I don't know what Mother Jones, Texas is, but that sounds good.
So is that a non-answerable one? People couldn't figure it out?
Yeah, unless somebody comes up with the correct answer before we actually put this to bed, I'm going to call it one and done on this one.
Cycle Camp, you stumped them. Well done on that.
Yep, so unless somebody's got something in the next 30 seconds, we're going to call it done. Well done, as a matter of fact.
I think that's good. That means it's not on top of nobody's head. Nobody's thinking about it, so that's good.
Yep. I don't even think we should answer it, but that's my opinion.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to call it done. Squibload says no more questions from Cycle Camp.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you normally get some good ones. I just don't like the topic of this one.
Yeah. And Angry Sandy Hook Court is not a state. But Sandy Hook, Connecticut would be a state, but it's not in Connecticut.
Jesus. Okay, I think there's no winner.
All right, I declare no winner. This is the first time ever in the Tactical Pop Quiz of the day. Ever, 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 ever.
What? No.
No.
The fortune.
I want to congratulate Cycle Camp on actually the question being that hard. And I think it's a good thing that it wasn't on the top of people's minds. So let's just say right on. But there has been another one that wasn't answered now. It's just
Well, you can tell me later after the show.
Yeah, well, like I can remember. I just remember there wasn't
Well,
one.
I think there's been ones that have got down to where we were about to cut it off, and then somebody got it right at the end more than once.
Yes, that has happened. But literally, it was like the last 5 seconds before we cut it off. But this is already cut
more
off,
than
so
one.
don't bother answering, because even if you get the right one, it's over. So anyway, hopefully tomorrow we will have a different question. I know we'll have a different question, and we will have a tactical pop quiz winner. Sorry, nothing for today. Try again tomorrow.
All right, enough gloating now.
How about a gunshot for the day?
What do we
No
got?
participation awards.
Just
Do
drop-
we have a gun shop in there?
No, we don't. So we need to do a show together, or get a show where we get the schedule together here.
Yeah, I got one right.
I know one was sent in by the emails because Squibs mentioned it multiple times, but I don't ever check the email, so I know it's in there if anyone wants to look at the email.
Hold on. So, Bob, you got one? Bob,
Yeah.
did
Oh,
you-
sorry. I guess I did cut you off, Bob. So yeah, go ahead, Bob. What you got?
Okay, I was just going to say, let's do my local gun shop. I mean, I only have one in the town I live in. Well, I mean, one real gun shop. There's, some stores, like box stores that sell rifles and shit, but one real handgun shop and gun shop, and it's called Joe Brooks Firearms. I know I've done pictures and done a review on it before, but they're on Facebook and stuff, and so they do have a web presence. It's a local shop, just expanded recently to a much bigger store. It's your basic sporting goods store, but they do have a huge selection of rifles, shotguns, handguns, like pretty good selection of ammo and stuff. They also carry archery supplies, kayaking, like fishing stuff. But just a really nice shop, very friendly. They do consignment sales. They buy used guns, so there's always something new to look at when you go in there. Good staff, nice and friendly. So Joe Brooks Firearms in Brandon, Manitoba. If you're ever in the area, drop in, check them out, give them a shout. Especially if you're up here, a lot of people from down south are going to be up here fishing and stuff because there's incredible fishing around here, and they've got a great supply of fishing stuff. And then you could, if you've brought your guns because you want to do some shooting, good place to buy some ammo. There's probably 4 or 5 gun ranges in the surrounding area of the city. Even a public range, even on our military base, which is kind of unusual. So really cool. But anyway, Joe Brooks Firearms, good people. Pretty well run shop and good supply. So if you're in the area, check it out. So that's, I guess, our gun shop of the day.
Right on. All right. Well, I can kind of read now, so I'm going to click on gun or the history of the day and see if anything good comes up.
Well, I know there was one history thing that I saw on Instagram earlier, but you're probably already familiar with that since you're the one that posted it.
What was that?
Well, I
Well,
wonder.
in 1893, a machine for making shredded wheat breakfast cereal is patented.
Sure, I'm glad
Really?
we got
Because I
this
think
extra
in
section.
some year, a
think I
machine for making shredded Nazis.
Wow.
In 1946, Truman established the Atomic Energy Commission. Oh, in 1957, U.S. and Canada create the North American Defense Command, NORAD.
That's
Yep.
the one inside the
We made
mountain,
that.
isn't it?
Yep.
We probably made the Canadians dig the hole.
No, man, we're like, because you got to remember, we cover most of the northern area because we you know, we're up there on top. You guys are underneath, the way it's supposed to be.
Oh, you know what? Today's the birthday of Jerry Garcia.
Oh,
And
who's
it's a
he?
tasty flavor.
Yeah, who is he? Jerry Garcia.
He's the
Sounds familiar. Was he a Mexican bandit back in the
lead
1800s?
singer of Grateful Dead. So yeah, today was
The
also
Dead.
the patent is they patented the bar Browning automatic rifle.
Oh,
In
Very
1917.
yes, just
17.
yeah. It was actually used in World War One. I think there were a few models made it over and actually saw combat, I believe.
Yeah, that's why we ended World War One. Nazis were like, "Oh shit."
Oh hell no! It's because Canadians were kicking their asses.
You know, I'm going to reach through the glass and tear down that flag.
You know, just hey, how about the movie of the day? We could do Passchendaele.
Well, if we had a movie of the day, we might do that, but we don't.
But if we did, we could.
We could.
All right.
We don't.
What?
So-
I'm so confused what's going on.
Yeah, I think we're way over our time though. So let's talk about today. It is Tuesday, so soon, in about a half an hour, we'll see Hit or Miss with Smeggy and Night Strike.
Tuesday night, 9 o'clock.
Illusion Armory was already on, right on top of our show, or we were right on top of them, however you want to look at it. Later on, Big Gunner 81 will have a show out of North Carolina. Tomorrow will be Wednesday, so that'll mean early watch with Jimmy James, long format show, many hours during the daytime, where you'll see Tony York and Connery, our member of the day today. And then we'll be back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Sounds good. So, does that wrap us up? I think it does. Well, I guess if that doesn't, if nobody else has anything,
That's your sign.
that would be my sign.
Here's
All
your
right,
sign.
so we like to end our show on a quote, but before that, I want to remind everybody if you like the show and you want to support us, you can do so on Patreon. It's in the description bar at the bottom of the videos. Also, please share, subscribe, so that hey, get the word out. I think it's a good show. I have a lot of fun doing it. I know everybody else does, but would sure be nice to grow. So we end with a quote. This one today is by Thomas Jefferson. And it's a very quick, simple little quote and quite true. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Remember that, everybody, because if we don't start shaking the tree, they're not going to know that we're not satisfied. So thanks, everybody, for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Remember that, California.
GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.
You're often done alone. You can never surrender.